Dover Beach by Matthew Arnold. The sea is calm tonight, the tide is full, the moon lies fair upon the straits on the French coast, the light gleams and is gone. The cliffs of England stand, glimmering and vast, out in the tranquil bay. Come to the window, sweet is the night air, only from the long line of spray where the sea meets the moon-blanched land. The poem opens on a serene note. The visual imagery presents the calm sea at night. It is interesting to observe that Arnold uses features of the Romantic era by emphasizing on nature and its peaceful effect on mankind. He uses nature as a symbolic element. The image of a full tide is a stark contrast to the calm sea. The first two lines consist of antithesis. Antithesis is a literary device that expresses opposite or contrasting ideas. This contrast depicts the confusion and the speaker's internal conflict, like most of the Victorian people who were living in a world of doubt and diminishing faith. Arnold builds the visual imagery further by describing the moonlight that falls upon the straits of Dover. The speaker stares at the French coast. The lights on the French coast are gleaming and suddenly it is gone. This symbolizes instability, and similar to the disappearing lights, mankind's faith in God and religion was gleaming and suddenly disappeared with changing circumstances of time. Speaker describes the English shore and the cliffs of Dover that stand tall and vast. These cliffs are glimmering as they are formed of limestone, and its reflection is seen in the quiet, tranquil sea. The speaker implores his beloved to come to the window to witness the beauty of the night and experience the sweet smell of the night. The night is pleasant as the large waves meet the shore, which is called moon-blanched, meaning the moonlit land. Listen, you hear the grating roar of pebbles, which the waves draw back and fling. At their return, up the high strand, begin and cease, and then again begin, with tremulous cadence slow, and bring the eternal note of sadness in. Arnold uses auditory imagery as the speaker asks his beloved to hear the grating and unpleasant roaring sound of the pebbles that are pushed back by the waves. Waves lash against the pebbles on the shore, producing a harsh sound. This clash could symbolize the clash between science and religion in the Victorian times, as it created chaos in the society. Do note how Arnold gradually shifts from a pleasant setting to a disturbing setting. The speaker observes the rhythmic pattern and sound of the waves when they hit the shore and move back to the ocean. Tremulous cadence means the trembling rhythm of the waves. This continuous sound symbolically represents the unceasing and eternal melancholy and sadness that lashes mankind. Sadness hits the world in waves. Arnold uses pathetic fallacy in the stanza as pebbles, sea, and waves are given the attributes of human emotions of despair and discomfort. Waves and pebbles express eternal melancholy similar to the people of the Victorian times. The beginning and the end of the stanza hint at a reversal in the setting as well as the reversal of faith in God that causes sadness. Speaker's cheerful tone changes to a melancholic tone. Sophocles long ago heard it on the Aegean, and it brought into his mind the turbid ebb and flow of human misery. we find also in the sound a thought, hearing it by this distant northern sea. The speaker continues to reflect on human misery and suffering by alluding to Sophocles. This allusion brings a historic touch and explains the age-old existence of sadness in human life. Sophocles, a Greek dramatist, had compared the unceasing movement and rhythm of the waves to the endless suffering of mankind. Look at how beautifully the poet uses the imagery of the turbid ebb and flow, which literally refers to the murky, unclear tide in sea, and metaphorically the sorrow that affects man in a wave-like movement. It also hints at a murky time of the Victorian age that clouded clarity of thought, giving rise to skepticism and doubt in the minds of people. Sophocles used this metaphor of the tide in his play Antigone. Sophocles in the ancient times heard the same note of sorrow in the Aegean Sea, and the speaker now experiences that at the Northern Sea, meaning the Dover Beach. The Strait of Dover is between the English Channel and the North Sea, far away from where Sophocles heard it at the Aegean Sea. Yet the idea and thoughts resonate after centuries. The sea of faith was once too at the full, and round earth's shore lay like the folds of a bright girdle furled. But now I only hear its melancholy, long withdrawing roar, retreating to the breath of the night wind down the vast edges drear and naked shingles of the world. These lines reflect the pessimism of the time. Speaker mentions about the diminishing faith of the society in Christianity and God. He compares faith to a sea that is receding. Sea of faith, meaning faith in God, was once full, literally a full tide that covered land. This sea is now receding and has retreated. Using a simile, Arnold compares the sea that sheltered the earth to a girdle that was folding well. In the Victorian times, this sea, meaning faith, was no more shielding human beings from doubt and skepticism. The speaker can hear the melancholic sound of the withdrawing sea. The Victorian society was overpowered by science and intellect and losing the romantic sensibilities and belief in the power of religion, nature, and God. When the sea retreats on a cold night, it exposes and uncovers the shingles. Shingles are small rounded pebbles usually found on shore. The vast edges, meaning the shore, is now desolate and dreary. The shingles lay bare, similar to mankind that is now exposed and vulnerable to sorrow, suffering, and doubt of the Victorian age. Darwinism created a conflict between science and religion. Science forced people to doubt the existence of God, and Arnold warns his readers that when faith pulls away, it only leaves society in a dreary and fearful state of despair. Our love, let us be true to one another, for the world which seems to lie before us like a land of dreams, so various, so beautiful, so new, hath really neither joy, nor love, nor light, nor certitude, nor peace, nor help for pain. And we are here, as on a darkling plain, swept with confused alarms of struggle and flight, where ignorant armies clash by night. In final stanza of the poem, the speaker implores his beloved to be true to each other as the world that they live in may appear to be like a land of dreams, but in reality it is full of despair. The Victorian world seemed to be promising as it was powered by industrial, scientific, and materialistic growth, but it became bereft of faith, human values, and sensitivities. This new world is illusionary. It has no joy, no love and light. It has no certainty, as it is in the clutches of doubt and fear. Neither can this new world heal and relieve humanity of its pain and suffering, nor can it offer solace. Arnold uses this imagery of a battlefield that is dark and lonely plain where ignorant armies fight against each other. Speaker uses the word ignorant to mean people who are ignorant of knowledge, compassion, and love. Notice the use of the words like confused, struggle, flight, ignorant, and clash. These words contain the essence of the poem. Men do not find comfort and happiness in the Victorian world. The speaker considers the modern world to be meaningless and directionless. Life is full of gloom, and he feels he is on a dark foreign land without any light of hope. Their fate is in the hands of ignorant people who have created a clash of thoughts, beliefs, and ideologies. Ignorant armies refer to intellectuals who blind the world with their theories, facts, and findings, destroying people's faith and peace of mind. Let us analyze the themes of the poem. The major theme of this poem is loss of faith in God and religion. Many writers, like Arnold, saw this period as taking a terrible toll on human happiness, and Arnold's stance and use of faith in this poem is vague as he doesn't specify the type of faith, but he chooses to focus on its loss in the 19th century. It is left on the readers to understand the context of faith. In Victorian poetry, Dover Beach was believed to be a representative of a whole phase of Victorian thought. There was an increasing debate about religion and God as society moved away from Christianity. Arnold brings this to surface through an unnamed speaker in the poem who believes that loss of faith results in loss of certainty. Speaker presents this loss in the poem through sights and sounds. Poem begins by describing the surroundings in which the speaker stands. The description of the sea and the sound of the pebbles on the beach are lyrically pleasant and soothing in its appeal at first, but they turn to be the eternal note of sadness at the end of the stanza. Sea and waves are symbolic of loss. In the third stanza, the speaker clearly addresses this loss as a loss of faith by mentioning it as sea of faith. The speaker brings clarity on the idea that scientific advancement represents a loss in the poem's final lines, saying that the new world is an illusionary world led by conflicting ignorant armies in darkness, which will lead to more doubt and questioning. Dover Beach, then, is a deeply pessimistic poem with a sense of grief on losing religion. Another underlying theme of the poem is love. Love, as the speaker urges his beloved to hold on to love and be true to one another. Love is seen as the only remedy and refuge in the face of conflict. Love between people can compensate for the loss of love and faith in God. Presence of his beloved is seen in lines 8 and 6. The speaker invites her to share the experience of looking out at a vast and magnificent Dover beach. Later, he stresses on the importance of love, and the poem ends with the imagery of two lovers looking at the beach and witnessing the new world. Poet leaves the readers with a hope that love may be the only answer and encourages his readers to feel the power of love.